People should only think about their wealth in relation to gold, or possibly silver, but preferably gold in my view. And of course the Americans, they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand that, as I said, the currency has lost 80% against gold in the last 10 years. They don't understand that their stock market investments have also lost 80% against gold in the last 10 years. Because the Dow is still at 12,000 or above 12,000. So the Americans think that I'm all right. I'm not losing on my stocks. Yeah. But they are losing massively.
In terms of purchasing power.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, that's very understandable from the point of view that when you're within a country and you're getting paid in dollars and you're using dollars at the gas station, the supermarket, you sort of lose sight of, you know, what's really happening to the currency because you sort of get used to it. It's people outside the country that understand better what's actually happening within the country, because, you know, in Europe you don't have to hold dollars, or if you're in Asia you don't have to hold dollars, and if you don't like what's going on in the States you dump those dollars, and that's basically what China is saying. Yes. For example. Yes. You know, when a currency collapses, the demand for the currency collapses first outside the country. Only within the country does the currency collapse, the demand fall, but that's at a later stage. Yes. Once the signs are clearly there. You know, turning to the global aspect, what are the big factors in your view affecting, you know, the global monetary and economic scene today? Is it China still?
Yes, China is extremely important today and will be long term, but China cannot exist in isolation when the rest of the world collapses, which I think it will do, into this hyperinflationary scenario starting with the US. And China will suffer because they are totally dependent today on their exports. Long term, hopefully they'll be building up their domestic economy, but that is long term, and before that they're going to have problems. And one must just hope that that won't lead to any social disorder or problems within the country when there will be these pressures, because we know that the banking system is massively inflated in China also.
You know, there's this talk about global cooperation, you know, trying to find additional reserve currencies or minimizing the role of the dollar as a world reserve currency. And at the surface, the discussion between various governments seems to be cordial. But behind the scenes, would you think that China is probably considering, or possibly considering, going its own way, creating a currency backed by gold?
I think a few countries are, and I'm sure China is also, because I mean, China is one of the few countries that is actually thinking about what's happening in the world and planning for it, both when it comes to sound money and when it comes to investing their money in the right places, buying resources and investing in countries with resources. And I don't know what they are planning, but I know that they are certainly thinking more than anyone else about the role of gold. Can they do it in isolation? Yeah, they could do.
You know, it seems to me that China is building a commercial empire. They're, you know, globally, you know, they're using their foreign exchange reserves to buy resources in Africa, to try to buy companies. You saw Barrick competing with Minmetals, I guess it was, to buy Equinox, the copper company. Yes. And you know, one of the reasons that the British Empire was successful as a commercial empire was that the term British pound and gold were synonymous with one another.
Yes.
So I'm sort of wondering whether China, you know, sees that aspect, and to build a successful global commercial empire, they're ultimately moving that way too.
I'm sure that that's what they would like to. Before that, in my view, gold has to be revalued substantially to function as money, and I think it will be.